General Hospital spoilers tease that Marco is entering a turbulent phase in his life, as new interactions with Sidwell, the biological father he once rejected, begin to reveal deeper layers and contradictions. For a long time, Marco has carried anger and pain when talking about Sidwell, a man with a dark and ruthless past who poses a threat not only to Natalia but also to anyone who has been involved with him. However, recently, Sidwell has unexpectedly returned to Port Charles, presenting himself with a calm demeanor and an ambiguous promise to make amends for past wrongs. With his natural defensive instincts, Marco initially tries to stay away, but Sidwell's persistence, along with the resurfacing details from the past, gradually pulls him into an unavoidable conversation. Each encounter with Sidwell forces Marco to grapple with his own emotions, anger, doubt, and a flicker of hope. Deep down, Marco still wants to understand why his father abandoned the family, why everything fell apart beyond repair. But the closer he gets, the more he realizes that Sidwell is not an easy person to predict. Beneath the veneer of remorse lies a calculating individual, possibly hiding a bigger plan than he's admitting. Sidwell's cryptic words, strange looks, and seemingly harmless advice make Marco uneasy. He begins to wonder if he is walking into a trap, or if he is simply a son trying to understand the father who vanished from his life. Just as Marco struggles to break free from this emotional whirlwind, another twist occurs, the news of Blaze's return. Although she hasn't officially appeared yet, just a deleted photo on social media has set the fan community and the residents of Port Charles buzzing. Blaze is not only a talented young singer, but she also carries a heart full of wounds from her past relationship with Christina. More notably, Blaze is also Natalia's daughter, and Marco's half-sister. Blaze's return could either reconnect or tear this family apart once more. For Sidwell, Blaze's return is not just about a child coming back. It is an opportunity. A key piece in the plan he is secretly executing. Blaze is Natalia's weakness, carrying unresolved feelings for Christina, who has close ties to the Corinthos family. Sidwell knows that, to fulfill his deeper agenda, he must manipulate emotions, sow discord, and create chaos among those who seem closest to each other. Blaze's return could be the starting point for Sidwell to push Marco into a choice, stand by his family, or be used as a pawn in a cruel game. Marco senses something is terribly wrong. He begins to realize that he is not only facing the ghosts of the past but is also being pulled into a web of dangerous schemes. His conversations with Sidwell are not just about father and son, but a clash between good and evil, forgiveness and betrayal. Blaze, though not yet returned, already destabilizes everything simply with her name. As Marco struggles to understand himself, Sidwell may have already set everything up to strike a surprise blow to Port Charles, and it could all begin with Blaze's return. Will Marco be sharp enough to realize he's being led astray, or will he become the next pawn in a manipulative scheme? And Blaze, if she returns, will she be the one to heal the wounds or inadvertently ignite irreparable fractures within her family? All will be revealed in the next dramatic chapter. Eva LaRue recently became the center of attention when she unexpectedly revealed one of the most shocking behind-the-scenes news of General Hospital, a significant shift in the storyline direction and cast, particularly the official return of Jacqueline Grace Lopez as Blaze. This is not just a simple return but a major twist in how the writers are reshaping the future of the character arcs, especially the increasingly important Ramirez family in Port Charles. What seemed like a casual reveal from Eva, a photo with Marco and Blaze tagged with #MyKids, is actually the first piece of a much larger picture that is slowly being uncovered. Blaze's return at the moment when characters like Marco, Sidwell, Natalia, and Christina are all being caught up in deep emotional shifts is no coincidence. This is a deliberate move by the GH creative team, aiming to reignite unresolved relationships and raise a new set of questions about trust, love, and betrayal. The shock lies in the fact that Blaze, who left quietly after the turmoil surrounding Christina, now returns not only as an ex-lover but also as a potential link in a family that is on the brink of collapsing from within. While Marco is caught in an uncomfortable position, starting to have strange exchanges with Sidwell, the father who disappeared from his life, Blaze's return could make everything even more dangerous. Blaze has a special connection to Christina, who is recovering from the shock of losing a child, and is also Natalia's daughter, a woman who still has not come to terms with her past with Sidwell. As these characters start to intersect, GH is creating a complex, emotional map, where no one knows who is an ally and who is an enemy. Even more noteworthy, this adjustment is making viewers feel like a storm is quietly approaching. Sidwell, with his dangerous personality and cunning intellect, seems to have been planning his own return for a long time. And now, with Blaze in the city, he may use her as a tool to manipulate Natalia's emotions, sow division between Blaze and Marco, and even throw Christina off course. Blaze has no idea that her presence could be a double-edged sword, offering a chance to heal but also potentially triggering a series of unforeseen tragedies. In this context, the emotional, familial, and social chaos is reaching its peak. Blaze, once a symbol of hope and love, may now become the center of a dangerous web of schemes she is unaware of. This return is not just to reconnect with Christina or face her mother, but to explore a deeper part of Blaze, where she must choose between truth and safety, between family and reason. All of this shows that General Hospital is entering a bolder, more complex, and groundbreaking storytelling phase. Eva LaRue, although the first to spill the beans, has inadvertently opened the door to a series of captivating scripts that fans can't take their eyes off. Jacqueline Grace Lopez's return as Blaze is not just a bright spot, but a crucial turning point, setting the stage for a journey filled with complications, shocks, and secrets that are about to be unveiled. And Port Charles, never peaceful to begin with, now faces a new chapter full of challenges and surprises. Blaze's return this time is not merely a reunion or an attempt to mend old relationships, it marks the beginning of an emotional storm and profound changes that no one in Port Charles could have foreseen. In a surprising move, Blaze returns with a child by her side, a child she adopted during her time on tour, when she tried to reshape her life after the painful breakup with Christina and withdrew from the spotlight. But what no one could have predicted was that this child would become the focal point of a chain of events that would not only touch Blaze's heart but also delve deep into the complex psychological corners of Christina, who once loved her deeply and also carried the dream of motherhood, but lost it painfully. Blaze returns, no longer the young singer living for music and love, but a grown woman, more mature, and above all, a mother. She adopted a child, not to fill a void, but because she believed it was the right thing to do. During her time away from Port Charles, Blaze learned that love is not only for love songs or romantic nights but also for the little lives that need shelter and a true home. However, for many left behind in the city, especially Christina, this sudden change is not easy to accept. For Christina, it is a sharp blow to her heart, not because of jealousy, but because old wounds are being reopened. She once sacrificed herself to carry Molly and TJ's child, a gesture that carried the hope that she might somehow experience motherhood. Yet, the loss came too soon, leaving Christina with a void that could never be filled. Now, when Blaze, once an inseparable part of her life, returns as a mother, Christina is forced to face a whirlwind of emotions, pain, regret, and even the feeling of being replaced. No one in Port Charles can escape this emotional turmoil. Natalia, Blaze's mother, who once opposed her daughter's relationship with Christina, will be forced to recognize that this child is her grandchild, even if adopted. Marco, her half-brother, who is trying to rebuild his connection with the family, will have to face the feelings of being pushed aside as Blaze receives attention, love, and is welcomed into a new role. Meanwhile, Sidwell, the dangerous, cold father quietly returning to his children's lives, might see the child's appearance as a new opportunity to interfere, manipulate, and sow division. Did Blaze truly adopt this child transparently, or is she hiding a larger secret? There are rumors that the child may have an unclear origin, possibly connected to a well-known figure in Port Charles. Some residents have begun whispering about the possibility that the child is the biological offspring of someone in the city, someone who was forced to give up their child or lost their child under mysterious circumstances. If this is true, then Blaze's return is not just a personal event. It is the missing piece in a long-standing mystery that could shake the foundations of many families. Moreover, Christina's unstable psychology, along with unresolved conflicts with Molly after the surrogacy ordeal, will make everything even more fragile. Blaze could reignite lost hopes in Christina's heart, or, conversely, inadvertently push her into a state of chaos as she realizes she may never have the chance that Blaze had. This could lead to a series of impulsive, dangerous decisions, from choices in love to life-changing steps. Port Charles is facing a new phase of chaos, an emotional eruption, as well as secrets and choices. Blaze's return, this time not to sing, but to be a mother, has lit the fuse for a chain of events that no one could have predicted. What was once a sweet love affair, a sorrowful farewell, has now turned into an emotional confrontation, a new journey with too many twists and turns. Blaze, Christina, Natalia, Marco, Sidwell, all are stepping into a game of fate, where every action could lead to irreversible consequences. And that little child, who unintentionally becomes the center of all the turmoil, will bring salvation, or perhaps ignite a catastrophe soon to erupt in Port Charles. Time will tell, but one thing is certain, no one will emerge from this storm unchanged. The growing presence of Blaze and Natalia at Deception is causing a new shockwave in Port Charles, a quiet but fierce earthquake that is shaking not only the cosmetics giant from within, but also spreading to the powerful ELQ conglomerate. What seemed to be Blaze simply returning as an artist after her tour, and Natalia as a mother trying to find a new place after reconnecting with her daughter's life, quickly proved that they were not merely supporting characters in the story. On the contrary, they are becoming strategic players, with real influence, gradually rising, seizing control with a sharp combination of personal influence and pragmatic business vision. From the moment Blaze returned, she used her image to reignite attention for Deception. With a large fan base, a unique style, and a human interest story about adopting a child, Blaze became a new symbol for the brand, not just an ambassador, but also a face that brought tangible commercial value. The promotional campaigns involving her consistently delivered impressive results, causing investors and external partners to start shifting their focus away from traditional names like Tracy or Brooklyn. Meanwhile, Natalia, with her experience in fashion and cosmetics, entered Deception not as a tag-along mother, but as a genuine strategist. She quickly identified weaknesses in the current structure and began suggesting bold changes in operations, product development, and stock distribution. With covert support from a few new investors she connected with during her time in Miami, Natalia is quietly building her own power network, independent of ELQ's influence. What makes the situation dangerous is that Blaze and Natalia are doing this without making a loud public declaration of war. No direct overthrow, no open confrontation, they are gradually manipulating the power structure, causing Tracy, known for her toughness and scheming, to take notice. Brooklyn, despite trying to appear calm, increasingly feels pushed out of important decisions. Internal meetings are gradually losing control, approved plans are being revised at the last minute, and employees loyal to Brooklyn are being replaced by neutral ones, all signs that Deception is undergoing an underground restructuring, and the drivers of this change may no longer be the familiar faces. There are even rumors that Blaze and Natalia are trying to connect with a new faction outside Port Charles. A group of international investors interested in acquiring Deception's shares and indirectly influencing ELQ. This has made Tracy and even Michael, who always monitors ELQ's financial movements, begin to feel uneasy. Deception has long been an important part of ELQ's investment portfolio, meaning any disturbance there could directly affect the Quartermain empire. The situation is becoming even more chaotic as Brooklyn discovers a series of emails and internal documents suggesting behind-the-scenes arrangements to revalue the brand and redistribute profits, something that, if successful, would place Blaze and Natalia in control of the company. This is no longer a game of creativity or marketing, but a strategic battle that requires shrewd calculation and political counterattacks, things that Brooklyn, despite being smart, doesn't yet have the experience to handle directly. Meanwhile, Tracy, unwilling to stand still, begins digging into Natalia's past, probing old relationships, shady financial dealings in Florida, and secrets involving Sidwell. She believes that just one slip-up from Natalia could bring the entire mother-daughter alliance crashing down. But perhaps Tracy is underestimating these two women, who have lived in the shadows for so long that now, when given the chance, they will not hesitate to step into the light and seize the power they believe they deserve. Deception is no longer just a cosmetics company, but a new battlefield in the power struggle of Port Charles. And if ELQ doesn't figure out how to respond soon, they may face a terrible scenario, losing control of one of their most successful subsidiaries and watching a new generation, not from the Quartermain family, rise to dominate. The question is no longer, can Blaze and Natalia seize power, but who can stop them before everything spirals out of control? And if no one can, Port Charles must prepare for a completely new chapter, where the women once underestimated will rewrite the rules, in their own way.